how's it going? Everybody, welcome to Northwest Arkansas Coders, kind of a random stream that I decided to do with my friend and coworker, or kind of coworker.
Soon to be, or was and soon to be.
Yeah. So I've got Ryan Rau with me, who's a CS major at the University of Arkansas here in Fayetteville, and is currently studying abroad in Germany. So,
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I've always wanted to go there. That's the language I chose to learn in high school. Took it for 3 years, and I loved it. But anyway, so kind of just wanted to catch up with Ryan, hang out with a developer, and then maybe go into a breakdown of his newest project. But I want to give Ryan a second to just kind of introduce himself and what he does.
Yeah. So yeah, as he said, I'm Ryan, a student from University of Arkansas. Should be graduating this spring. Hopefully, it's all weird. I work at a firma. I was an internship. Will be going full time whenever I return back to the States. And yeah, currently in Germany doing a semester abroad, studying also computer science and German here. Yeah, it's yeah. I don't. What else?
So let's see. I guess so. A lot of people in the Northwest Arkansas coders community are not CS majors. A lot of us are boot camp graduates, or some CS majors, and then some or quite a few self-taught. So a lot of non-traditional routes. And I kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit about what the process has been like going through college for CS major.
I will say, more recently, I've gotten very against college. I would say as soon as I got my internship, I realized that I learned nothing of importance really from college. Like, not to say I didn't learn anything, but I would say practical skills go a lot farther. And as a student, I've realized how much stuff how many classes I've committed hours and hours to, and not to see any outcome from that, and not to I don't use Calculus 2 on a daily basis as a software developer. Like, maybe if I was doing some more graphics-based thing or something that was a little bit more math heavy, I would. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a software developer, I don't think that I kind of like the non-traditional route better, but I didn't end up doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, I hear that a lot more than I thought I would, and I think that's just because we have such a high demand now for software engineers, because everything is based on tech these days, pretty much. So it's like, basically, I hear this a lot because people will get into their internships and they'll just be like, it's like, I think either way, even if you come from a non-traditional route, it's really like drinking water from a fire hydrant. It's so much to process. But I did notice, like, whenever I started my internship, like, I already knew things that we would be using all the time, like version control and stuff like that, which I guess you don't get a ton of experience with usually, at least from what I've heard. And I mean, there's lots of other things that I hear too, specifically the math subject.
Yeah. I would say that the one class that could have been helpful at the university was software engineering, and they put you in groups, and then over the course of the semester you had to work on a project as a group, and it was like full stack development. It sounds great on paper, in reality, since no one's getting paid to do it, no one has any motivation. So you treat it like a homework assignment where you have to hit that deadline. So you wait until the very last minute, you do the bare minimum, you submit it, and you call it good. And then like when it came to like version controls and GitHub, we brushed over that. Like the professor was like, "This exists, figure it out." And I would say that like if it wasn't for my internship experience prior to that, like that class was a mess. I remember I was teaching people how to run their projects locally because they didn't know how to run it locally. So they were like uploading their code to Heroku, waiting for it to build, and then debugging it live, and then making a change, rebuilding it, and doing it over and over like that. And it just, no one taught good techniques of like, having a local database to mess with, or like version controls and stuff. So it was just good idea, poorly taught.
Yeah, but so what about the positives? What are some of the positives that you had?
Positives, I would say there's are a lot of classes that allow you to get into like more abstract or like things that you don't face during your time as an intern or a software developer, most likely, and things like computer vision classes, AI. Like you can have an easier in to like more complex topics that are like if you just do on your own, you're kind of jumping into the deep end. But with a class, it's a little nicer, and also you do like through the computer science degree, there's a lot of theoretical, like how a computer works. And it's super interesting. Not 100% sure how like relevant it is, but I think that maybe having that knowledge makes me a little bit of a better programmer, but I can't tell yet. So
Okay. So it wasn't an all bad experience.
no, I think I would say the biggest my biggest annoyance with it is that the programming classes that they do have are sometimes out of date, and the projects aren't inspiring. And I think if you want to learn to be a programmer and you want to like really excel at it, you have to have something that inspires you to like teach yourself how to do something. Like you have to have a good goal of your own instead of just like when we're learning like object oriented, we're making a program that just asks you to make a model of a car and then prints out a JSON version of like a Honda Civic. And you're like, wow, this is useful.
Yeah, I could see that. So then what would your 2 cents be for somebody that is currently a CS major and aspiring to break into the industry? Like how should they
I,
go about it?
I would say do something outside of class. Make a project, and whatever it is, make it like make something meaningful to someone. Essentially, like you want to. I would say that like when I got my internship at Affirma, prior to that, I was working as a technology coordinator at UA Teach, and they're a program that they're a department at the university that is like a minor for teachers. And I kind of had free reign to develop their inventory management system. So over the course of like 3 years, I like built and destroyed several different iterations of a system, just trying to like teach myself how to program and make something that was like useful. And then I ended up making like a full stack application of allowing students to reserve materials, and like they would get email notifications and stuff like that, and just a management system for they had like some 400 items in their materials inventory. So I think having a project that is meaningful to, if it can be meaningful to you, that's great. But if it can be meaningful to someone else, like if you have family that has a business that you can make something for them, that looks good. It looks better than just showing school projects when looking for an industry job.
I tend to really agree with that. That's one thing though that I've kind of seen a little bit of, but is that it's a little bit easier, it seems, to get an internship if you have a, are currently in a CS major
Yeah,
or have, a computer science degree. But at the end of the day, it really matters about the interview, right? So
yeah,
uh, you got to be ready for that interview. And building personal projects is like, to me, and I think probably almost everybody, is going to be like where you learn the most and get the most value
yeah,
for building, for programming. So,
yeah. Agreed.
uh,
And I was going
good.
to say, especially if you're motivated for it, you're going to retain that knowledge a lot better than. At least I've found that in my classes, I don't. A lot of it just hits me and goes away, and like it doesn't stick. But then if I go out on my own and like I'm motivated to learn it myself, it sticks a lot better. And I'd say
Yeah,
employers look for that.
I agree with that full heartedly. And uh, for me too, is like my initial like first programs that I built, they were way too ambitious, way too aspiring for
Yeah.
my level. And so kind of what I did to just circumvent that was start with really small projects, like
Hmm.
simple things, and build my way up from there.
Yeah.
Um, so if I need to create a toggle button or I want to know how to do that, I just start building it. And that's a really small feature, right?
Yeah.
And it eventually builds up to where your confidence and your knowledge can kind of meet in the middle, and then you are able to build cooler stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah. So, how's Germany been studying abroad?
It is a whole different animal over here. They so they don't do homeworks really at all. You just go to lecture. Um, you don't have to sign up for lecture. Like they just have like a list of all lectures, and you can just go. Uh, I'm in Hessen, Darmstadt, uh, but um, they like you just attend lectures to whatever class you would like, and at the end of the semester, you can decide if you want to enroll in the final or not. Like it's very like loose, and like you have no metric of performance of like how you're doing in class, and it's kind of terrifying. And I would I have to say like in I don't know how people get hired out here because like if you're not self motivated as like a programmer, like you don't have any homework to show. So like to an employer, in my like from how I understand it, like all you have to show them is that you've passed school. And I don't know if like you can't show them the projects that you did that passed school. Like I don't know because there isn't any, but it's interesting. It's also interesting that bachelors aren't like the norm here. Like if you go to school, you're going to get your master's.
Really?
Yeah, like everybody's getting their masters,
Huh. That's
and yeah,
pretty
it's
different.
interesting. And like the internship route is not like common from what I've heard. Like people have internships, of course, but like the U.S., it's typically by like your junior year, you should get an internship over the summer and then continue school. Here, they just say no to the internships until like after your master's, which is weird.
Weird. So you have
Yeah.
to do the masters usually before you're going to get an internship. If you
Yeah, or you do your master's in tandem with an internship, which
okay,
is
okay,
weird.
it
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah, I
Completely
don't
different.
know. Yeah, I don't know how that would look if I were to like ever like if I were to apply for jobs out here at my current state, if that would just make me look bad because I only have a bachelor's and like I don't know if German employers look at experience more so than um like their degree wise because like a person with a master's here and no degree or no experience would get a starter job, where in the US, if you have your bachelor's, you can get a starter job. I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah,
It's
that
very
is.
different.
I wonder what it's like for like non-traditional route people over there.
I do know that there is like there's a so if you don't go the university route, so they have don't quote me on any of this. I believe they have three different types of high schools, and one is to prepare them for university. The other is like a more work based, and then the third one I think is like a normal. Yeah, it's like Realschule, Hochschule, Gymnasium. Yeah, I think. So like the gymnasium is for if you want to be university bound, and then the other two, there's like an option to do like apprenticeships. And I do know I've heard of like programming apprenticeships where like you'll do like 50% internship and then 50% school, and then you'll do that for like 3 years, and then you'll end up with a bachelor's, and then go from there. But I've yet to meet anyone who's doing that for computer science. I've met a lot of accountants that are doing it, but no computer
Okay.
science yet.
Okay. That's interesting how they, you know, do stuff differently in different parts of the world, especially
Yeah,
if you're thinking of like the same industry. But
yeah.
so, um, let's see. What one final question for you before we go into like you know, looking at your newest project. Um, but I was gonna say or ask rather, what got you into programming?
Oh, um, I can actually give you an exact point. So in eighth grade, uh, we had a year-long project where we had to collect like weekly assignments that we were like proud of or something, and then write like a review or like a reflection upon it. And then the end goal of it was to like create a resume of sorts of all of our accomplishments in eighth grade, and then use that to like sell ourselves to someone in the community as like as a like interview practice. And the last month of school, they decided that it would be a great idea to teach everybody HTML and to make an online version of that. So me being a good student, I just went above and beyond, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." So then I like started like going through like all the W3 schools stuff, and uh, like I come to school next week, and like the teacher doesn't. The teacher was just told to do this. She didn't know what was going on herself, and then I started helping the class, and then like I was at a point kind of teaching the class because I did so much research on my own. And then yeah, and then after that, when I went to high school, I guess I moved in the process, but somehow my high school principal, talked to my middle school principal, different states, by the way, and told them that I was a good programmer or whatnot for just making a website. And I ended up getting a job through my high school doing IT work, and then it just kind of went from there of computers. And I've always like more so like the programming side because it's a different type of challenge. But I would say that working in IT gave me a lot of good like troubleshooting skills, and I think troubleshooting skills are like of utmost importance when it comes to anything computer related, programming or hardware. Like if you can find the root cause of a problem, you can figure out how to work your way back up. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
That's great. You can like pinpoint the
I,
exact.
yeah, it was a life changing moment. It's kind of weird. It's
That's funny. Did your teacher even know HTML?
no, she was literally just told, "Hey, teach these kids something you don't know," and yeah.
Well,
So I
hopefully
spent
she
the
learned a
weekend.
lot.
Yeah, I spent the weekend on my mom's. She had like an Acer Aspire One of the tiny netbooks, learning how to do HTML and CSS on that. And then I came to school the next week and I was like, hey, look what I can do. And the teacher was like, that's great. Show little Timmy over there how to do that as well. So
And all these years later,
yeah,
still
look.
struggle with CSS.
Yep. We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Quickly deletes my search history of how to center a div.
Right. It's
I would
not
never
as
look up such
easy
thing.
as it seems. Always there's always something getting in the way of how you normally center a div.
Always.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your new project that you had just finished up?
Yeah. So I listen to a lot of music. I think last year I had like 3 months worth of music listened to on Spotify. And that's what happens when you sit 8 hours a day behind a computer. Adds up quick. But I really like samples of music, or like what songs are sampled by a song, and then like digging into the history to like go down that rabbit hole of different genres of music that are like, I don't know, that sound familiar but are different. Anyway, I got annoyed that there wasn't an easy way of doing that, and I was passionate enough about it to learn Swift, so I decided to make an app for that. So I can share my screen and
share, I'll get it loaded in here.
let me move. Yeah,
to the dark portal. All right.
Oh. Okay, so I have it as. So this is my app.
Whoa.
And I have it such that it shows the songs that are sampled by the song currently playing, and then the songs which the song that's currently playing samples.
So currently playing on Spotify, or
yeah, currently playing on, yeah. So I have whatever song I'm playing on Spotify, this will fetch and then show me the samples, which this song doesn't sample anything. Is there sound if I play it? Are we going to get like copyright striked if I play sound? Yeah. I can't hear you. Zach, you there?
I couldn't hear any music.
I guess it's not too important.
It's probably not adding your audio in.
Yeah.
Into the stream. That's completely fine. So
yeah. So for example, this song, Daft Punk's "Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger," Coca-Cola Bottle Baby is the main hook to it. Like it is the beat, the background beat that "Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger" is known for.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why that is sampled by this. So I guess.
Sorry, you said you learned Swift to do this?
Yes.
Okay. What other technologies did you land on using?
So I would say the way I've fetched the data is actually kind of interesting. I use Python and I use Beautiful Soup 4, I think it's the library, and it's a web scraper, because it turns out that there's no easy API for that information. So there's no easy API if you want to for free. But there's a website that has all the information. So I made a Python script that essentially will take the name of the song, load this website, and then scrape out the details including the album art for uh, the samples and the sampled buys. And yeah, and then I integrated that into the Swift app. So this bit of code just, and like with that, like I had to do fancy things. Like for example, the band NWA on Spotify, it comes up as n.w.a. But on Who Sampled, it's n.w.a. So when I give it that extra dot would throw off my search results because I basically go off the URL. So like it has a very strict format, which was nice. But yeah, so using Python, I was able to scrape all this information, essentially make like my own API of sorts, which
So,
was pretty cool.
so how did you solve the problem of being able to parse the correct information?
A little bit of, so like I have exceptions, which converts it. Like there's no easy way to get around these. I guess I could like brute force it and have it try every single combination of a artist's name, but I didn't really care that much. So like the couple exceptions that I came across while doing testings, I would just add it. And then additionally, like there was some things of like the song actually is on the front page, I think. So libel stiffs, I got the ... is the like iconic like my name is, like it's direct sample, and I was using this song for a while as a test because I knew that it was used. And on Spotify, it has a very long title of I got the ... dash 2006 free master. So to handle that kind of stuff, I had to figure out like dirty identifiers is what I called them. And then I basically check for any of them and then start stripping away the tail end of the song until I get something that should be right. It's not 100% foolproof, but it works pretty well so far. But I also like realized that like anything that had remastered in it or featuring or like with like a lot of rap songs will do it, and how it's on whosampled.com is not includes that, or does not include that. So yeah, this isn't the cleanest, but I could probably make it better, but it works surprisingly well for...
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I feel like just more iteration on the stuff would make it even more foolproof. So,
Yeah. And another way, so what I'm currently doing is that like on this, if we go to a song, you can go straight to the samples by this URL. So the process is that I have, and it's kind of dumb though the way that this website works, because if there's less than like 4 samples, it won't this page won't exist. So my process is go to this page. If this page doesn't exist, go one page back, look for this section of the site, and then scrape these. And then I could make it do one more further back to handle all like the miss ends and just have it search like as if I were to just manually search it in the search bar. And then, but I figured that would have less reliable results, so I just didn't. I don't know. I'm happy with how it functions now. So works
that's
reliably enough.
that is really cool. Um, what were some of the other issues? Like, what would you say was like the hardest thing about doing this project?
Um, I'd say it would be probably just the mixture of my data sources. So like a little background of how everything is getting fetched. So this top bit, the album cover, the top track title, and the artist is coming from information that is fetched from an Apple script that is getting the system's current state of Spotify. So it's like a terminal line interface or terminal line command essentially that asks, hey, is Spotify running? If it is running, tell me this information. So I get that from that. And then using that information, I pass it into my Python that asks who sampled. And then when I got to the point where I want this bit, so I can, from here, I can add this to my queue. So if we go to Spotify, it is now in my queue. And I can also play it directly from here. And it starts playing. And then I can also click on it to go straight to that track. And to do all of that, I needed Spotify's API access. So luckily there was a Swift library that I could import that in. But then I would have, like, from that, I had to figure out how to do authentication and how to do like callback URL to allow it to log in through the web and then come back. And then I can fetch information from it. And then because I'm getting the names of the songs, of the samples, of just track titles, I then have to go search for them in Spotify's database, because Spotify does everything by their unique UIDs for everything. So like the background of this is like when a song starts playing, my app fetches all the songs from who sampled, and then before it shows anything, it then searches all those songs on Spotify's API and then combines that information into a bigger object and then shows them here. And that's why you'll see that like you can't add all these songs to a queue, and that's because those weren't found on Spotify.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So this the data flow and stuff is probably the most complicated, and I still would like to work it out to make it a little bit more friendly, because sometimes it'll lock up and like it figures itself out, but sometimes it takes longer than it should.
Okay, so sometimes it just gets hung up for a minute.
Yeah. And I also don't have any visual cue that it's held up, so sometimes I'm not sure if it's just completely broken or if it's... I should probably add like a loader spinner or, you know, something that's indicative. But yeah.
Yeah, I gotta have a loader or at least something. Yeah, all right, let's see. Can we put it into action? Can I give you a song and see if
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking you might, I'm not sure. Well, no, because if it's doing it off of, okay. So ASAP Rocky, and then Sundress, right? It would be the song. It's right there, yeah. There
Samples. Why
Tame
won't you
Impala?
make it? Tame Impala.
Wow, that's cool. I already knew that, but
yeah. It's nice to see it when the songs that I already knew. It was like nice to be like, oh, it actually works.
this actually is working.
It does. I have noticed some like things. There's a song I was listening to earlier. It samples Aerosmith "Walk This Way." I think it's a rap song. I can't think of it now, but it didn't show up, which I was disappointed. But that is probably like part of it is a limitation of the who sampled, because like this is all user generated, So if someone like, so I've noticed, especially with like newer rap, it might like, it takes like a day or two before people start like, yeah, like with like Drake's album. Um, I think like when I was first developing this, nothing came up for some of these, and as time has gone by, more and more things have showed up. So it's kind of interesting that like I can also see the like the as the result of having user driven data that my app doesn't it learns, I guess.
Yeah, you're just waiting on people to feed it the data
Yeah.
that it has. That's cool. That is so cool. So this idea just came about just because you're like wanted to know who was sampling this song.
Yeah. 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 I just because like I have this playlist of a bunch of songs that are all sampled in like pretty popular songs. And like I made this by like coming across them and then looking at them, and I just wanted an easier way that I could just be like, oh, I want to add this to a playlist or add to my queue and whatnot. Um, so yeah, and then like I'm actually continuing to expand upon this. I think I'm gonna make some like playlist generation also connected to this since I already have access to the Spotify API.
Oh, like
Um,
related
yeah,
artist.
either related or like um, my first project is it's because like I was saying before, if you have something you're motivated with, like if you want it, you tend to stick to it. So I listen to like the Daily Drive playlist, which has like podcasts and music, and it's great and all, but I swear to you, Spotify feeds me the same songs over and over and over every day. It's like, here, listen to Fleetwood Mac and drink. Like that's all you're allowed to listen to. You get new podcasts every day, but you're just gonna listen to Fleetwood Mac and drink. And that's good and all, but I'm kind of tired of it. So I want to make a new version of that forces like better variation in the songs. And I was thinking maybe I could use like the samples to like create like a base playlist of things, and then take like five of those songs and then find like the most popular sample of those songs and then also throw that into the playlist. So it's like a mix of like newer stuff, but also where things are coming from, and then also have like my daily news and stuff that I want because
So
I'm
it would
tired of
just.
Fleetwood Mac.
I mean, I love Fleetwood Mac, but I'd be tired of listening to it every
Yeah,
day.
you can only
Uh,
listen to Dreams so many times.
right, right. You gotta give yourself a break sometimes. So what would it then do? Like basically just like create a new playlist in your lists of playlists and add the stuff that you want for your new daily drive, but under a different name or whatever.
Yeah, so um, I'm thinking that I'll have it like ideally I would want it to be like a auto generated, like at every day at like midnight generate, or every day at whatever time like the latest of the podcasts gets updated because they all change a little bit, to just wipe yesterday's daily drive and then generate a new one. Kind of work the same way as like Spotify's daily drive. And then for the music side of things, I've done a little bit of research into Spotify's API, and it kind of like looking at this playlist and looking at like whenever you click on like go to radio of some song, it looks like it just gives you the most popular things. And I believe with the recommendations, you can, there's, like I can, Spotify, there is a literal butt ton of uh, other fields that can go into like searching for recommendations of popularity, loudness,
Tempo,
liveness, instrument, yeah, instrumentalness. That's tongue
instrumentalness.
list. Energy, danceability, acousticness. Just it goes on, and I think that I kind of want to make it something like a risk slider. Like you have to give it like a seed of like say 5 songs, and then I want it to be like, okay, I'll give you some Drake and some Fleetwood Mac still because they're good at all, and then I'll give you, I don't know, Beatles and Tom Impala, and then I'll make it so that I would like it so that there would be like a risk slider per se of saying like where 100% or yeah, 100% would be no, other way around. Doesn't really matter. But 0% would be like don't go risky. Only give me Fleetwood Mac songs and Beatles songs and Drake songs. Like don't do anything funny. Where 100% risky would be like give me the obscure stuff and give me things that are like kind of related, but Spotify probably thinks I don't like, but who knows? I might like it. So that's kind of what I would want something to like personalize my daily drive music.
I'd probably go with 100% risky because I go with life on the edge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I
Me
just like
too.
discovering new stuff, and that I feel like that's a really good way.
Yeah, because it's getting like I swear to you that Earthquake has been on my daily drive since it came out.
And
Like,
that's been out for like what 3 years or something like that.
yes, uh, I 2019. Yes, it's been on my daily drive for 3 years nonstop. I swear, it's annoying. It's triggering.
Yeah, I can I can definitely see that. Um, so any other ideas for iterations upon this besides the
Um,
new playlist generator?
not. I've thought of the idea of like
Like maybe a
further pulling.
phone app or I don't know.
Maybe I was at one point thinking of just like making basically a new Spotify player, like essentially turning it into its own player where like I could do everything that I can do on Spotify just through my custom app with some fancy things. Um, but then I realized that that's too hard. So I won't be doing that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna start with the daily drive and then kind of see where that takes me because, like I said, I listen to a lot of music, um, and I think I'll think of something. Like I kind of like their new lyrics thing that they have, and I was thinking of like as from a
What?
language perspective, um, like I have a bunch of German songs that I feel like I should learn. I should try to learn German through the songs and like using their lyrics.
I got some
Maybe make
good
a
German punk
translator.
bands. I got some good German punk bands for you. But awesome. Well, we're almost at time here. I just put us down for a 45-minute stream. So, uh, first off, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day and, well, or night, I should say, right? It's nighttime
Yeah,
over there.
it
Uh,
is
taking time out of
7:45.
your night, seven
No
forty-five,
problem.
and you know, hanging out with me and explaining what's going on with your new app that you made. It's really cool. It's inspiring,
Thanks.
honestly. And so, again, thank you for coming. I appreciate it, and
Thanks for having me, I guess.
yeah, and I'm looking forward to your U.S. return.
Yes. Hopefully April.
Yeah, and unless something crazy happens and you get
Yeah.
caught up there. Hope,
that is becoming more and more of a real thought every day, or a real worry. I mean, like COVID is concerning.
oh yeah, it's just on fire right now. Uh,
Yeah,
but anyways, man, I hope you have a great rest of your night, and I will catch up with you again soon.
yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, thanks.